Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to second day of the Global Islamic Finance Forum 2025. For your continuous support and participation, can I hear a round of applause? Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, payments are evolving into digital ecosystems connecting consumers, merchants, banks, and fintechs through innovations like wallet as a service, APIs, and embedded finance. Our first session today explores how Malaysia can leverage these advancements to build a secure, inclusive, and future-ready payment landscape. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall now commence the second day of GIFF 2025 with a special slot titled From Payments to Ecosystem, Shaping Malaysia's Digital Future. Join me to welcome the speaker, Mr. Imran Vilcassim, Global Chief Commercial Officer, Digital Banking, BPC Switzerland. Mr. Imran, the stage is now yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning to all of you all. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, that's a very early morning response. Good morning to all of you all. Assalamu alaikum once again. Great. My name is Imran Vilcassim. Thank you very much for being here this morning. I'm so excited to be with you, share a few thoughts at the Global Islamic Finance Forum. I just need to figure out how I actually move the slides. How do I move the slides? Just press this. Okay, where do I press it? Just to, okay, yeah. So let me kick off. Let me go back. So the whole topic is around, how do we really look at the fundamental shift from isolated payments into ecosystems, and how can that shape the digital inclusive future of Malaysia? Let me start off with a quick quote. Today, we are in an era where payments are not just transactions. Payments form the fundamental ethos of a digital, inclusive financial ecosystem. So today, when we talk about payments, it's just not about competition. It's about collaboration and connected ecosystems that empower people, purpose, and prosperity, right? Do I have a slide here? Okay. And if you really look at the evolution of payments, for some reason, the animations have gone a little haywire, so let me present everything on the slide. If you really look at what happened previously, it was a simple transfer of value. Value can be money or exchange of goods or services. That moved into digital experiences, and today it has moved into ecosystems connecting people, services, and data. Right? Thank you. So if you really look at an application like GrabPay, look at what happened to GrabPay. GrabPay started as a ride-hailing wallet, but very quickly moved into other services like food delivery, insurance, and so forth. So that's how GrabPay moved. Ecosystems also create continuous engagement rather than one-time transactions. So if you look at what you have done in Malaysia, PayNet's QR platform, that's a platform that unifies banks, fintechs, non-banks into a single ecosystem. So really, what has happened is that we moved from cards, now we moved to wallets. We are now embedding a lot of these services across through APIs and embedded finance capabilities in non-banking platforms, and we are creating ecosystems. Are cards still relevant? Yes. Are wallets still relevant? Yes. APIs are absolutely relevant. But it's interesting to see how all of these have evolved and how it's performing in an ecosystem-based approach. So really, what do we really talk about it? So if you really look at Malaysia's digital opportunity, it's great to see that almost 90% of the people or 100% of the people in Malaysia use smartphones. There's absolute growth or significant growth in QR adoption, almost over 20 providers of wallet ecosystems. We are seeing a lot of trust-driven models based on the principles of Islamic finance. We are seeing cooperative banks and microfinance institutions play a pivotal role in driving inclusivity and community finance. We are seeing the Central Bank of Malaysia or Bank Negara really driving the blueprint to encourage adoption of open finance, innovation, and partnerships. All of this creates a new opportunity for you. If you're a bank or a fintech or a microfinance institution or a cooperative bank or even a non-bank, the opportunity is how do we really create connected ecosystems that actually bring banks, fintechs, cooperative banks to deliver an inclusive and also Sharia-compliant solution to benefit your end consumers. Now, let's look at also what does payment ecosystems really mean, right? You've heard the word ecosystem everywhere. What do I mean by a payments ecosystem? Let's look at a very simple definition, right? I didn't want to complicate this too much, right? Very simply, an ecosystem means it's a platform that can connect your acquirers and your issuers, your fintechs, your regulators, your merchants, your cooperatives, and your consumers via APIs and data rails. So look at the diagram here. Right in the middle is a platform. For example, it's a BPC platform. You've got your issuers, you've got your acquirers, you've got your SMEs and your entrepreneurs. You also have your merchants as well, right? And the outcome of looking at ecosystems in this way, not looking at issuing as an isolated channel, not looking at acquiring as an isolated channel, not looking at your fintechs as an isolated channel. The benefit of looking at all of these in an ecosystem approach is to see what outcomes it can drive. The biggest outcome that I've experienced doing this day in and day out in my global role at BPC across many markets is the ability to drive fast innovation, enabling embedded finance naturally here, driving inclusive access to financial services to people who may not have access to financial services, and even driving new merchants and business models. This is the outcome of driving payments ecosystem. So if you look at what we are doing across the globe, across 140 plus countries, we are actually connecting merchants to banks, to fintechs, to the regulators, to non-banks, and creating an inclusive commerce and a financial services ecosystem. This is what we mean by a payments ecosystem. Now, if you look at it from a more detailed perspective, if you look at things like issuer innovation, I think issuer innovation is growing beyond just issuing wallets or cards or accounts. You're now talking of cards as a service. You're talking of API integrations to issue cards in non-banking platforms. Today, the role of banks are also changing because of open banking or open finance. Let me ask a very simple question from the audience. If you want to buy a pack of cheese today, where do you go to? You don't go to the cheese factory. You go to the nearby retailer or the supermarket and you buy your pack of cheese. Now you relate that example to a bank. If you are coming up with Sharia-compliant Islamic finance products, today you are actually selling these products directly. Tomorrow, because of open finance and open banking, these products might be sold by non-banks or fintechs, and the banks are the factory, the cheese factory. You're creating the product. You're the manufacturer of the product. But the distribution of the product may not necessarily need to happen through the bank. It can actually happen through the channel or the distribution channel that can be non-banks or fintechs. This is where the future is moving. Think about wallet as a service. Creating Sharia-compliant wallets for youth and SMEs that can also even digitize zakat payments as a result of the transactions. Think of conventions beyond the traditional norms today. Look at what open banking APIs are doing. Today, one of the biggest issues of scaling Islamic finance products is you wait for the customers to come to the bank. But what if you can have Sharia-compliant products in places where the customer is already in? A very simple example, I'm a Malaysian. I'm not a Malaysian. I wish I was a Malaysian. I go to Malaysian Airlines website. I want to book a travel itinerary for me and my family with 2 kids. That's not a cheap trip, by the way. I want to book 4 tickets. I may not have all the money upfront to pay for it. What if I can subscribe to a Sharia-compliant BNPL plan in the Malaysian Airlines website and actually buy my ticket? So go to the customer as opposed to customer coming to you to apply for a Sharia-compliant product. This is the way to scale Islamic finance or Sharia-compliant products. Look at digital lending and savings. New AI models, leveraging payments data to offer microloans, which are also Sharia compliant. So think about the customer journey. You onboard a customer, you issue cards or wallets or accounts. You can track the usage or the spending of such instruments very easily through data, and look at how you can leverage the power of data to come up with Sharia compliant lending products. So this is issue innovation. Let's also talk a little bit about merchant innovation. Today, any acquirer always talks about digitizing merchant payment acceptance. But digitization today is not about just accepting digital payments. It's also about how you can empower your merchants to run digital businesses. So today you have innovation like SoftPOS. Any merchant who has a very simple Android phone can now turn that phone into a payment acceptance device. Think about value-added services. How can you help merchants run businesses digitally? If you're a retailer just across the street, giving them a POS machine or a regular POS machine only just digitizes payment acceptance. What if that same POS machine can also help them run their inventory, their order management, and their discounts and price management digitally? That's how you can help merchants run businesses digitally. Also look at things like creating network of SMEs on one platform. So we've worked with a couple of banks in Asia where these banks set up merchant platforms or ecosystem platforms or marketplace platforms where they brought in all these merchants, connected them with consumers, facilitated trade and commerce on the platform, used the data to also work on products like working capital loans and so forth. Think about such models in terms of scaling your product sets. Then we're also working with things like AI-based acquiring insights, really looking at what do your merchants want using real data and coming up with products which is suited to this. So think about Islamic finance products like Mudarba, where you can actually design working capital loans purely based on data. Think about how you can create supply chain ecosystems to create halal offerings within those ecosystems. That's on the merchant side. Embedded finance and Islamic innovation. This is probably the biggest opportunity for you to scale Islamic finance or Sharia-compliant products across a broader ecosystem. Embedding finance is a very easy topic. How do you embed finance within daily lifestyles of people, whether they travel, whether they are spending on education, whether they are investing their money, or whether they are spending on healthcare, whether they are spending on their children, it can be anything. How do you leverage concepts of embedded finance and embed Sharia-compliant products within those ecosystems? So think about digital takaful microinsurance within e-commerce applications. If somebody is buying a motorbike or a bicycle, can you actually embed takaful insurance within that ecosystem or the journey? Think about halal BNPL solutions. So for an example, think of a youth or an entrepreneur in Malaysia, a new entrepreneur, or a young professional in Malaysia, 22 years old, wants to book a trip to Medina or to Makkah. So she can book the trip using a BNPL solution, allowing her to spread her payment in a very Sharia-compliant way. She can also use an app and book a halal travel on that app. Use a similar app and also do sadaqah payments digitally, all within a single ecosystem enabled by embedded finance. That's the power of what embedded finance can do for Islamic finance products. And what is the real result? You're talking of inclusive digital finance ecosystems that balance profit and purpose whilst building trust, which is a fundamental principle of Islamic finance, and also building and being compliant as well. Right. AI and trust. Like I said, trust and Islamic finance goes hand in hand. There is no Islamic finance or Sharia principles without trust. And the age of AI, this issue of trust is now questionable. Yes, you can run AI to build trust, but then you also have people with different agendas using AI to break AI-based trust. Right? So how do you really overcome such issues? So there are so AI-based trust or AI and trust are foundational for a proper digital payments ecosystem. So you are looking at multiple use cases for AI, even for Islamic finance. You're talking about fraud management. You're looking at AI for personalization. You're looking at AI for financial wellness. You're looking at AI for biometric-based onboarding. These are 4 key areas where AI is being used not only in regular finance, but also in Islamic finance to drive inclusive innovation. Now, using these principles, even if you're in the space of Islamic banking, you can actually create a lot of new revenue streams. And for some reason, we think Islamic finance is fundamentally different than traditional banking, but enablement of Islamic banking products does not need to be different to traditional banking, right? So how do you really enable merchant innovation around Islamic banking products? You can do this. That's a new revenue stream for you. You can create what we call as embedded lending, where you can drive new fee-based income streams. You can create marketplace commission-based structures or fulfillment fee structures using Islamic banking principles. You can drive API monetization and platform fees. So think about it. I talk about the bank being the manufacturer and the non-banks being the retailer or the distributor of banking products. So when you have one of your products, talk about, let's say, a Takaful insurance product, which is sold by fintechs connected to your platform, every API call is monetized, and that's a new revenue stream for your Islamic banking division. These are the things you need to think about. Last but not least, use all these data and insights products to create new products and services, be it for consumers or for businesses. Now, this is a complex slide, but I wanted to get into details. I see a lot of people taking pictures. I'm very encouraged by that. But let me summarize this for you in one slide. Here are your revenue streams that you can create for your Sharia-compliant products. Think about subscriptions, BNPL loans. Why not subscription-based payments for a Hajj pilgrimage, right? Why not look at leveraging data to create Sharia-compliant lending products? Why not create marketplaces to drive new fee-based income for your Sharia-compliant products? Use of API monetization is perfectly fine in Islamic finance. There is nothing haram about it, right? So, and we've done this over and over again. We build platforms that helps banks and fintechs bring together Islamic finance innovation through connecting them through a common ecosystem. Now, I've been talking about Islamic finance. I spoke a little bit about me, but who are we as a company? We are BPC. We've been around for a long time. We were founded in 1996. That's about 30 years ago. I'm 22, so the company is 30 years old, right? We've got over 500 clients across 140 plus countries. We have headquartered in Switzerland. We've got 21 global offices, including an office in Malaysia as well, right? And we have also started evolving across these principles of creating connected ecosystems, right? We have headquartered for Asia and Singapore, but we are a local company in Malaysia. So we have 110 plus clients in the whole of APAC. We have actually 3 clients in Malaysia already, and we are a fully fledged operation now in Malaysia, right? We serve multiple industries, starting from some of the largest retail banks to the digital banks, the e-commerce players, mobility providers. So Egyptian National Railway runs on our platform to issue tickets to any Egyptian who books a train ticket to commute from one place to another. But what's also important is in Asia Pacific, we have over 110 plus institutions. We've got some of the biggest Islamic banks working with us. We have Bank Negara in Indonesia using our platform to issue 60 million Sharia-compliant cards, right? We've also got Qatar National Bank globally as one of the biggest implementations of our platform for an Islamic bank across not only Qatar, but wherever they have set up branches, they've actually used our platform. We've also obviously connected with everyone, whether it's schemes or whether it's technology providers. But what's important is all of these principles I spoke about, enabling scaling of Islamic banking products through setting up of payments ecosystems, is done through what we call as our digital payments platform, powered by a brand called Powered Vista, which allows you to create integrated ecosystems across your issuing channels, your acquiring channels, your fraud capabilities, your payments capabilities. All of these is connected through a single platform. So when I spoke about that diagram of how you can create ecosystems between issuers and acquirers, SMEs and merchants and regulators and fintechs, this is how we do it. And we do have a blueprint for Malaysia as well, Anyone here who wants to create the kind of ecosystems that we spoke about can be done by using this blueprint that we have created for Malaysia, leveraging local ecosystems of Malaysia, like your Do It Now ecosystem, your Jompe ecosystems, and so forth. So quick call to action. Obviously, we spoke a little bit about the platform. But if there's anything here that is exciting for you, I'll be around. We have a BPC booth outside. Also, I'll leave you with one takeaway. Here's a guide that I wrote. Well, I didn't write really, I typed it. If you want to download this and kind of read through some of the new things that we are doing around wallet innovation, which can also leverage a lot of the Islamic principles, just scan this QR, and you can also download this guide as well. I was strictly told not to speak for more than 15 minutes, so I'm going to stop here. But I'll be in the booth for a few minutes, so happy to take on any questions or comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Imran, for that insightful sharing. Let us give him a round of applause.